with Brendan and the 2-run homer and, the way he attacked the zone in the first few innings. And it just felt, you could see how relaxed our offense was and how loose our guys were. It just felt like Brendan was really dialed in, and that was definitely going to take a lot of pressure off us. So, it happened to us last week in the ACC tournament. No one's immune from that big inning, and fortunately we really got the bats going and put together that huge inning in the third.
Open up for the players now.
Brendan, you really seemed to come out. I think you touched 95 a couple times even in the first inning. Seemed to come out with a little extra fire. Talk about the week leading up to it after last week and the performance you gave.
Last week, didn't really go as planned. We won the first game in the ACC tournament and then kind of scuffled and didn't play the style of baseball we wanted to. So this week we kind of just focused on getting back to who we are, playing the game how we are, loose and relaxed, and just coming out with all we got.
Brendan, have you ever played a better first inning than you did today?
Probably not. It's all first innings all just feel getting into a rhythm and seeing how the strike zone's working out, seeing how their opposing pitchers throwing to guys, and it's all just a feel inning right there. Just get going and see how you're feeling.
You need to give yourself 2 runs. That was nice too. Isn't it?
Yeah, getting a 2-0 lead in the first inning always helps too.
I think it's 2 strike pitches. Talk about what you saw there. And
First pitch I think I saw a fastball and then a couple curveballs. And they threw me another curveball that started at me and broke to the inside corner. So I knew he was either coming fastball or curveball because that's all I've seen so far. And he threw a fastball that was a little up and ran a little bit over the middle of the plate. Just made a good swing.
As good as you were throwing, was it frustrating to have those kind of rain delays and be sitting for that long?
Yeah, as you're cruising along through 3 innings, I think it was, and then you gotta sit for 10, 15 minutes or have a long inning like we did in the third. It's a little tough, trying to get back into the zone of throwing strikes and going at batters, but you just gotta stay through it. And
when you talk about your performance, obviously 2 home runs.
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep it simple and have a good I can enjoy it, and just got some pitches over the plate and put some good swings on them, and the results are what they are. It's hard to explain that.
do you think you had a third?
No. I got her off the end of the bat a little bit.
But I mean, just when in a game like this and the setting, just talk about getting not 1 but 2 home runs and in an NCAA game. For you being the senior.
I mean, it's important to just simplify everything and control what you can control. And so, to me, the only thing I control is going out and having fun and trying to be loud and keep everybody up. And so when you get a couple pitches to hit and you put good swings on them, can't really control where they go. So, it was a lot of fun just to be able to have that kind of performance today.
Dan, were you thinking about Ali at all today?
I mean, just I was on Twitter a little bit last night, when he passed away, and obviously somebody I looked up to, and so it was a sad day and a tragic loss, and but during the game, it's not really something I'm thinking about.
When you have a performance like that on a day, where it's somebody who's so meaningful has passed, I mean, what does that mean to you personally?
I mean, it's just, I'm not really sure. It's just, it's a weird feeling. Somebody I looked up to, and I thought that I saw just watching on TV. Barack Obama said something about him being very authentic, and I thought that was just like a really good description of him, and something that people should strive to be, just very authentic and true to yourself, and so that's what I'm trying to do as well.
Danny, can you talk about how special it was to be the first recipient of the Ali Award, and then you sum it up today and you go out and hit 2 home runs?
Yeah, I mean, winning the award. I mean, you get an award with his name, and it's a great honor. And he's helped out our program a lot. But today it's a coincidence. I mean, just nothing else to it. It's just I got some pitches to hit and hit them hard. So, and that's really it. I don't think there's any correlation there.
Brendan, was there any particular game plan that you and Roger had, or Coach Williams had, to go against Dawson? Came in with a really hot streak, but you guys flattened him down and held him in check.
He's a great pitching coach. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. So whatever pitches he called today, I went with him. He scouts them. He watches it video a crazy amount. So whatever he's got, he knows that it should be thrown in that situation, or he's got a purpose behind every pitch. So you just gotta go with him. He's a smart man. Obviously one of the best pitching coaches in the country. So that's why we come here. That's why you want to pitch for him. So you got to trust him.
People talk about a shutdown inning. After that 2-run first, you guys had a one-out single. Montgomery's on base. What was it like for you guys to be able to escape that and put another 0 back up?
It's always great. Once you get a lead, you got to maintain that lead, and even if they do get guys on base, minimize whatever rally they get at that point. If they get 1 or 2, you still got to keep striving to get back in that dugout and get your guys up to bat and score runs.
And just for you as a pitcher, it's a team that's come in with a lot of bunt singles and are very aggressive. They got one there, but do you take any extra precaution, I guess, to make sure you are put in position, that you're aware of that type of game plan?
Coach Mack and Coach Rabel are in there with scouting reports on the guys, what their tendencies are, and where they spray the ball. So they move the infielders around, with
opportunity to show what baseball's about.
Anything else for the? Okay, guys. Back to you, Coach.
Coach, just talk about Danny's game, and obviously a coincidence, but it's kind of fitting on a day like this, the first recipient gets a couple home runs.
Yeah, I think the players they kind of throw around the dugout Mr. June. He played really well last year. He had a big home run. He had some big doubles. He played really well last year in the regionals and the super regionals, and it's a very mature young man, and he's got great perspective. He spoke to the team a couple weeks ago, and he's very sincere. He's just having fun. He wants to enjoy this, and he went from a quiet, kind of a shy kid to our most vocal infielder, and he's constantly talking out there. He's constantly communicating. He's the epitome of what baseball is all about, and hope he gets a chance to play pro ball. And we've had him catching the bullpen a little bit because he's got such a strong arm and it's a good bat, and there's never enough catchers that maybe somebody will give him a shot even as a catcher. So really proud of him. He's a super kid, obviously, to win that award, to be selected with what Muhammad Ali means to the city and the university. It just shows you what type of person Danny Rosenbaum is.
To you he's not, but most people out there, he's kind of that unsung kind of hero. He's kind of the unsung guy with all the guys that get the hype on your team.
Yeah, because he's not one of the high-profile draft picks, and exactly. But it's one of those guys. He fills up a stat sheet. I think Coach Snyder and Coach Rabel done a great job with him, just trying to give him a good approach and a good game plan. And he's had a great year, very good defensively, and of course you see the bat and the power numbers. So it's a nice bat to have towards the middle bottom half of your lineup.
Have you ever had a guy strike out the side and then hit a home run in the bottom half of the inning?
Not often. Again, Stephen Head is the guy I've always compared Brendan McKay to, and but there's not a lot of guys out there that do both, and especially do it as well as he does it. So, it was good to see. You could see the velocity and the command of the strike zone and put a great swing on it. So, it's the reason he was the John Olerud Award winner last year, and I guess he's up for it, maybe this year.
Had there not been those delays, how long could he have gone?
Yeah, I'm sure he could have gone a little longer. The inning we made an error behind him, and then he had the pitch out of the stretch, and he walked a couple guys. That ended up being a long inning for him, and then obviously the last lightning delay, the automatic 30 minutes, and it's really 45 minutes. We just felt like at that point, let's keep him fresh and get him out of there. So it is what it is. I was hoping he would have said, we eat obstacles for breakfast. I was about to nudge him, but he didn't say that. But it's part of the game. These guys, you got to deal with weather issues all the time, so it's nothing new.
Dan, Logan also had a big game for you guys today, both at the plate and in the field. Just talk about his performance.
Logan's our other, I'd say Mr. June. When you think of the postseason, Logan and Danny are those guys that really played well last year. And I told him in the outfield, Devin Harrison makes a great play to end the game, but I thought it was the day of the outfielders. Summers' catch and of course Logan's catch was, from my angle, and you can see the ball and you can see his body, and man, he's a long way from that ball. And to come up with that catch, and Funk was upset because Funk was doing the in-game interview that inning, so they were telling him to stare at the camera. So he was telling me he didn't see the catch, and I just said, just turn on SportsCenter tonight. You'll see it. So it's it's Corey Ray's a great outfielder, and Corey can play all three spots. But there's a reason we put Logan in center. Man, it's Boomer Whiting like, it's Adam Engel like, and just some of our more explosive first step outfielders that we've coached here at Louisville.
And to give you time today to reflect on all you do.
Yeah, we talked last night about him, and I got to read the article, and I just wanted to share some things with our players about how Lonnie and Assad were at the ACC tournament, and as many were disappointed last year we didn't make it to Omaha. The Ali family was one of them because they were planning to meet us out there. So Lonnie and I had spoken several times throughout the year. Do your best to get to Omaha because the Alis want to be there. And so I got a text about 2:30 in the morning that Lonnie had somebody text me to make sure she knew that that they were thinking about us and they're still planning to go to Omaha. So I shared that story with the players today.
How do you go about game plan wise for tomorrow, not knowing who you have?
We've been in this situation before. So we've obviously played one of the opponents, if it is Ohio State, and we played Wright State earlier in the year. So, we just prepare a scouting report for both teams. And, as we always say, it's that fine line between preparing for your opponent because you respect them and you want to know their tendencies, but also just do what you do, just focus on what you do well, and you hope that's good enough to come out on top.
Follow up on Ali for a second. How would you kind of sum up the impact that he had on the program and what his support had meant?
I obviously knew he was the greatest. I just didn't know how tied in he was to the university. I always knew he was from Louisville. I was just, when I got here, I got to meet him at the Orange Bowl, and Wake Forest, walked out Arnold Palmer. I was like, man. And then we answer with Muhammad Ali. I felt good, and I like Arnie. Don't get me wrong, but I felt like we had the upper hand there, and then just seeing how loved he was every time he was at a basketball game or a football game, and then the connection with baseball. Having coached his son Assad, and they loved baseball. They loved supporting the program. It's one of the few guys I would step out of the dugout when I would hear he was in Tom's box, just to get a glance of him and see him. So it's inspiration. Inspiration, and I mentioned it last night. It's what's going to be really cool, I think, over the next, week or so as we celebrate his life is just how much they served, how much that family served others, how much they gave to so many people we probably don't even know that, I hope we get wind of.
How did you see kind of the players respond to, they didn't see, they were obviously, younger than to see him as a boxer, but to see him and kind of, on the level of just that he is, to have him come in, how did they respond to that?
These days, with the internet and YouTube, and you're able to pick up history. It's right there at your fingertips. And I learned my first year here, the first fall. I like to have themes of the week, and we had Michael Jordan week, and during my time, especially Michael Jordan, was so-called, the greatest athlete, and dominated the NBA. And so I kept referring to him as the greatest. And a local player, Skylar Meade, walked up to me after one practice, and he's from Ballard High School, and he's playing here. He's now the pitching coach at Michigan State. He said, Coach, Ali is the greatest. And because I was kind of using Michael Jordan and mentioning the greatest, and I got corrected, by a Louisville, and a guy from this area, and it was a good feeling knowing that someone of his generation was in tune to who Ali was and his status. And so, hopefully I haven't made that mistake since that first fall.
Do you know you're going to start tomorrow, or will it depend on who you're playing?
No, we'll start Drew Harrington.
Anything else?
All right,
Guys.
thanks.
Thank you.